So I believe this is a very realistic end of Q1, beginning of Q2 price target. All right, welcome to Talking Investing. I am Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I want to talk about a company called CORZ Scientific, stock ticker CORZ. CORZ is a Bitcoin miner, and they are a very big Bitcoin miner. This week, they put out their production update for January of 2022. So I want to go through that. It's got a lot of important information, and then I want to dig a little deeper into who CORZ Scientific is and talk about that, and then we'll look at the chart and talk price targets. We cover Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners quite a bit on this channel, so if that is content that you're interested in, please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. And of course, if you like this video, please smash the like button and feel free to leave a comment below. You'll also see a link in the pinned comment to our free Discord, so we welcome you to join the conversation there as well. So let's get to the monthly update. Okay, this is CORZ Scientific's second monthly update. They just went public in January of 2022 via a SPAC. So a lot of this information we're just getting to see for the first time recently. And so I want to dig in just a little bit and get an understanding and try and understand who these guys are and what they do. They are set up a little bit different than some of the other Bitcoin miners. So we'll talk about some of the differences and we'll talk about their size and where they're going. But first, let's start with their January 2022 update. Okay, CORZ Scientific announces January 2022 updates. CORZ Scientific increased self-mining hash rate to 7.5 exahash per second, producing 1,077 Bitcoin in January of 2022. Okay, so those are both monster numbers. 7.5 exahash per second is by far the largest hash rate for any publicly traded Bitcoin miner in North America. It's nearly double. Actually, I think it's more than double the next closest, which is Marathon and Riot, which are somewhere around 3.6. So that is the current status of things as of January 31st, 2021. All of these companies have big expansion plans, including CORZ Scientific. Later, we'll take a look at where they're all looking to end up by the end of 2022. For the second month in a row, our self-mining operations produced more than 1,000 Bitcoin. We now operate over 14 exahash combined in our self-mining and hosting activities. So that's important. Let's not get that number confused. They are operating 14 exahash, but they do a lot of hosting. So 7.5 exahash is their own, and they have a total of 14 exahash. They get hosting fees for that. So they don't get any of those Bitcoin, but they do get hosting fees. So that is another source of revenue for them, and it's a significant source. They go on to say, and we are well positioned to continue our planned expansion. In response to winter weather conditions, we down-powered mining operations on average once a week in January. We are committed to curtailing mining activities to ensure the stability and performance of the electrical grids in our communities. So that's a big part of ESG. They mentioned working on being carbon neutral, and this curtailing of energy when it is needed during these winter months is also a part of working with the community to make sure that they're not a drain on the power grid. CORZ Scientific self-mining operations produced 1,077 Bitcoin in January, representing a year-over-year increase of 315%. So that's a big increase year over year, but as you guys know if you've watched the channel, I don't as much care about year over year as I do month over month. However, these guys were doing a lot of business last January. They then say the company held 6,373 Bitcoins produced from operations. As of January 31st, 2022, they currently have 6,373 Bitcoins on their balance sheet that they have self-mined. So that is also a very large number. It's competitive with 3 or 4 other miners for being one of the larger numbers of Bitcoin being held on the balance sheet. And at this pace, if they're mining over 1,000 a month, they will very soon have more Bitcoin on their balance sheet than any other North American publicly traded miner. Probably somewhere in March or April at the latest. As of January month end, CORZ Scientific operated its own fleet of more than 75,000 Bitcoin miners, producing 7.5 exahash. So let's just take a quick look at last month's operational update. And again, this was the first public operational update that they gave as a company because they just started trading publicly. So the previous update was for the month of December, and they're saying that they mined 1,044 Bitcoin in December. They held 5,296 Bitcoin, so you can see it looks like in January they basically held all the Bitcoin that they mined. They later go on to say they had 6.6 exahash operational in December. They've moved that up to 7.5 exahash in January. So that's almost a 1 exahash increase, although the actual number of Bitcoin they mined increased only by a little, from 1,044 to 1,077. And I think they explained that basically they're a part of a curtailment program which kicked in January, limiting their mining a little bit during these coldest winter months. So all in all, the two big takeaways are over 1,000 Bitcoin mined per month again, a massive increase in their exahash rate to 7.5 exahash per second by the end of January 2022. So both of those numbers are very much, by far at the moment, the largest of any of the companies that we look at. I will tell you that based on future plans, there is a distinct possibility that one or two other companies may catch up and be very competitive with Core Scientific by the end of the year, even though Core Scientific has very big expansion plans already set up for the rest of this year. It's just that Marathon and Riot also have extremely aggressive expansion plans. So at the moment in 2022, it looks like those three by the end of the year will be the big three, and I'm not sure who will be the biggest, but at the moment, Core Scientific is the biggest by far. This is a table from their prospectus, which they filed with the SEC in order to go public. And I wanted to take a look at this because I think it clarifies a little bit what their exahash is right now. And it also gives us some insight as to what their plans are for the rest of the year. So at the time that they submitted this on September 30th, 2021, their self-mined exahash was 2.64. And their hosted miners was 4.48, so they were running 7.12 exahash at September 30th, but 2.64 was self-mining that they were getting Bitcoin from, and 4.48 was hosted that they were receiving hosting revenue from. Bitcoin miners on order. So this is where I want to make a little sense out of things. At that time, they had another 12.57 exahash of self-mined miners. So those were on purchase order, deposits made, and they were due to be shipped over the course of the next year. Now, obviously, it's now the end of January, and they're at 7.5 exahash. They've received somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 exahash of that already and have it up and running. But that still leaves another approximately 7.5 exahash for a total of 12.57 exahash. By the end of the year this year, it looks like they will have 12.57 exahash of new equipment installed and 2.64 exahash of existing equipment. That would be a total of approximately 15.2 exahash of equipment up and running and mining by the end of 2022. And again, all of these have already been purchase ordered and large deposits, and the vast majority of the money has already been paid on most of these. So you can see since they released this in September, they've managed to get an extra 5 exahash of their own machines up and running. So they're actually installing at a rate faster than any other Bitcoin miner over the last 6 months. So that gives me a pretty good level of confidence that they will be able to reach these goals. And it is possible they will purchase more in the year 2022. We're only in the beginning of February here, so they have the rest of the year to potentially make further orders. We'll have to see if they have any additional plans, but as it stands, they're already looking to get to 15.2 exahash self-mined. In addition to that, they're adding 3.8 exahash to their hosted miners, so they will have over 8 exahash that they are hosting as well. So that is significant revenues for them. Okay, so I'm just going to jump over to their income statement for a second because I'm saying it's significant revenues, but I want to show you in the past what this has equated to. So as of September 30th, so that's the 9 months ended September 30th. Hosting revenue was almost $40 million. So that is for 3/4 of a year. And again, they're going to approximately double the amount that they're hosting. So that will be a significant number. That number could push $100 million of revenue in 2022. Obviously, still the main source of their revenue is Bitcoin mined, which will be a significantly bigger number than that. They should push somewhere around $1 billion of revenue in Bitcoin mined as long as Bitcoin stays healthy and they can stay on their plan to get to 15.2 exahash. So let's just take a quick look at where that leaves them at the moment. Bitcoin has been rallying over the last 3 or 4 days, so this stock has rallied quite a bit as well. Right now it's trading at $10.88. So that gives them a market cap of $3.45 billion. So that is the largest market cap right now out of all the North American Bitcoin mining companies. However, all of these market caps are very, very low as compared to where they were for most of the year 2021. Some of that is a function of the fact that Bitcoin is way off of its high from November of 69,000. Right now we're trading in the $43,000 to $44,000 range. So that accounts for some of the pullback. Some of it is just there's been a lot of downward pressure on small cap, high growth stocks, and there's been an additional downward pressure in specific on the Bitcoin miners. So again, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but in my opinion, all of these companies, for the most part, that I talk about, I believe are currently undervalued. So even though this has the largest market cap at $3.4 billion, I think this is significantly undervalued. This is Marathon and Riot were in the $6 or $7 billion market cap area in 2021 when they were just a small fraction of the size of what Core Scientific is doing right now. So time will tell if these will adjust, but I think there's a lot of upside in this stock if they stick to their plan. Okay, so this is the chart on the 1 day time frame. So each one of these candles represents 1 day. This dates back to October of 2021, where you'll see they were trading around $10. And at that point, that was not very meaningful because they were a SPAC, and new SPACs tend to trade at around $10. So once they announced that they were going to merge with Core Scientific, you can see this stock began to rise. It peaked on November 27th at just under $15, $14.98. Like all the rest of the Bitcoin miners, it headed down from there for the rest of 2021. And then these two giant red candles down right here, this represents the day that the SPAC officially turned over to Core Scientific and started trading as stock ticker CORZ. And as is so many times the case, on the day of transition and in the few days following, these SPAC stocks have been tanking for the last 6 months. And the same thing happened here. Within a few days of going public, this basically got down to $5.82. So it is almost double that right now, and it's really just a couple of weeks later. And so really, most of this uptrend has just been to get back to where they were, a few weeks ago. However, if somebody took advantage of this buying opportunity in the middle, this turned out to be solid gold. You can see that in this 2-week period, just a little over 2 weeks, from the low to the close today, this stock is up over 85%. So a great opportunity if you guys manage to catch that quick swing trade. However, in my opinion, this stock is not done going up. So I'm going to give you a few of my price targets. And again, please remember, this is not financial advice. You guys need to do your own due diligence and make your own buying decision. I'm just going to show you some price targets that I'm looking at. Okay, so I've added 2 blue lines to this chart, and you're going to see the first one's at about $15, and the second one is at about $22. So the first one, going back to $15, this stock as a SPAC was trading at about $15 in late November. So that would just be retracing itself back to its own recent high. So if it did that and went from where it is trading today up to back where it was previously trading, that's about a 40% increase in the price of their stock from where it is right now. So I believe this is a very realistic end of Q1, beginning of Q2 price target, so sometime over the next 2-3 months. The next number, if they can stay on track and get to the 15.2 exahash by the end of the year, which I have a very high level of confidence in. Again, I don't know that for a fact, but they've been executing extremely well. They've already installed all the machines that they thought they would. They're already a good part. They're actually half the way there at 7.5 exahash right now. It's reasonable to believe that they will achieve that goal by the end of the year. So if they do that, that will basically be doubling their current exahash. Even if Bitcoin doesn't get back to its all-time high of 69,000, if it can just remain healthy in the $50,000 area, the $50,000 to $60,000 area, I think $22 is an extremely realistic price point. That would be about a double for this company. That would still leave them at only about $6.5 billion market cap, which again, Marathon and Riot were both higher than that at certain points in 2021. So to me, that seems like a very realistic market cap goal. So if they were to achieve that and to get to $22, you'll see that's just over a 100% increase. So that's just about a double. Again, that's about my 1-year price target. And again, none of this is financial advice. Please do your own due diligence and be careful. This is a new company with a lot of variables. Please be careful trading. That's all I've got for you on Core Scientific. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.